Gut health has become a huge topic of conversation, and it plays a crucial role in our second brain. Now, to help us understand why our gut is so important and how it impacts our overall health, we are joined by Dr. Darren Green. Welcome, Doctor.
Thank you. Good to be back.
So there's been huge talk about the second brain. I mean, you read it everywhere in anything that's medical, emotional, physical, related. Is it really that important?
It is very important. We don't necessarily have a second brain, but we have an extension of the brain.
So what it's trying to say is that it's that important.
It is.
That's why it's called a second brain.
100%, and that it can actually exercise control on local levels that the brain, we thought the central brain, the big brain, had to take all that responsibility. But we're learning more and more that some of that responsibility is actually diverted to local areas of control, and the gut being one of them.
Yes, so we use this quite flippantly, trust your gut. But there actually is a thing called a gut.
Absolutely.
Tell us about the gut. Please explain detail to us in the simplest way possible so that we grasp it.
100%. So the layman uses the word gut for an instinct, just a gut feeling, etc. But the gut refers to what we call the GIT, the gastrointestinal tract.
Okay.
And that, obviously, the doctors brought in their fancy terms, gastro meaning stomach, intestines, the intestines.
Okay.
So your gut basically represents the structures that the route of food follows from start to finish.
Okay.
So it starts off with the lips and the oral cavity, obviously goes down into the throat, into the esophagus, which is the food pipe that leads to the stomach.
Yeah.
And then after it's busy being minced and mashed in the stomach, it then goes through the small intestine, which is a thinner part of the GIT.
Yeah.
And then the large intestine and the colon, which people have heard about.
Yes.
And then it exits, obviously, via the rectum, etc. as well.
Okay.
Then the accessory parts to the gut that help with the digestion, the teeth, the tongue, the salivary glands that are busy lubricating the foodstuffs, etc., releasing enzymes, and then those special other organs that help your digestion, the liver, the gallbladder, and the pancreas, which all sit in the abdomen. They supplement and help digest that route that I've described.
Just with the way you described it now, everything is interrelated, and I guess that answers the question. But why is it so important? Why is gut health important?
If you think about this meat box, as I like to call it, all our systems require nutrients. They require basic elements, chemicals every day, healthy elements, chemical substances is what I'm talking about here, oxygen, your energy sources. For muscles to function, they need energy, etc. So you need to absorb foodstuff via this GIT or gut that I've described, and that needs then to be broken down to the right forms of food that can be transported to the different systems to be utilized. Your brain, for example, the brain cells need energy, they need oxygen. The muscle cells need amino acids and protein for repair, to break down once you've had that strenuous gym session.
Yeah.
And so too, all the systems require nutrients. Now, the gut is the pathway that has to break down what you're putting into the pie hole and then break it into smaller components, and then also facilitate the absorption of the right amount and right types of nutrients to get to all the different systems in the human body.
Doctor, another thing I want to ask you, which is another word that's, been floating around and really not only trendy but important, is this word called the microbiome.
Yes, a lot of people are talking about it.
Please unpack that for us.
Yes, I like it's a micro meaning small, so the small environment, looking at what's happening on a small cellular level inside the gut in terms of the organisms. Who's living in the neighborhood? The biome is the neighborhood.
Okay.
So it's the neighborhood of this gastrointestinal tract, looking at the small intestine, in the colon, what's happening there. So we know the structures, physical structures, but who's living there? And the bacteria that live there are the probiotics, or the good bacteria.
Okay.
And they need to sustain their life and function. They need prebiotics, which fuel them and feed them to grow.
Okay.
And the interesting part is what we eat every day affects the populations that are in the gut. So if you are a wonderful fast food fatty eater, your bacteria that are very crucial in digesting fat, they just multiply, they become wonderful. If you're a big veggie eater, certain groups and families of bacteria grow abundantly. So what that gut and microbiome actually represents is your eating habits over a period of time that determine how many of which family of bacteria are living in the gut. So you need a diverse pool of bacteria to be truly healthy and being able to break down food to get all the nutrients you need to live your, your best quality life. And that means having a diverse set of these bacteria. So if you only eat one type of food, you lose the diversity of all the different families of bacteria in the gut.
What happens if there's an imbalance, though?
Good. So the things that take away that imbalance and wipe out the population are eating things like chips, because there's nothing nutritious in chips. You also look at things like antibiotics that wipe out an entire population and a family of bacteria.
Okay.
So you often have fungal infections and, what they call indigestion after taking. So only if you need to, and then supplement with probiotics once you're done as well. So remember that. Then things like stress has a major effect on knocking out those populations, and things like a lack of sleep and insomnia. That combined with then the choices we make around the different foodstuffs in the diverse profile. So that's how you then will start seeing indigestion and having just what they call dysbiosis, where that family distribution is disturbed.
Doctor, thank you so much. I love how you're just reaffirming once again how the mind-body connection does exist and how everything is interrelated. Thank you so much again for all your wonderful insights that you always bring to the show.
It's a pleasure.
We certainly hope that this discussion has opened your eyes to the powerful connection between gut and overall well-being. Remember, nurturing your gut isn't just about digestion. It's about supporting your mind and your body too.